David Joe, do your thing. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here today. And I'm Joan Ziegler, and I am your host today. We're so glad that you're here. We have an exciting journey to talk with you about to become a nurse here in the United States. And I am an enrollment advisor with inSpring, and we're going to share with you how you can become a nurse here in the United States. I want to introduce you to our other panelists. So we'll start here with Deva. Deva, if you could share what you do and a little bit about yourself, that would be great.
Sure thing, Joan. Hi, everyone. I'm the enrollment specialist working with inSpring over 2 years, and it's been an incredible journey helping a number of nurses and the students who are getting into this accelerated BSN program to get their dream come true. So super excited to work with you all.
And
hello,
Eric.
yeah, and hello, everyone. We have a VIP on here today, and it's not me. It's Justine Jaro Obligado. So we have one of our ABSN students here in the flesh. We're so honored to have her. But I'll kick it over to her in a second. But just to let you know, my name is Eric, and I'm vice president here. And I just love what we do, especially now more than ever. It's so important what we're doing, and we're so happy to be joined by Justine. Justine, please tell us, who are you? Where are you from? Where are you studying? Oh my goodness, all the things, Justine.
Okay. Hi, I'm Justine. I am from the Philippines, currently international student here in Oklahoma City University. So I am almost there. 2 months left for me to graduate in accelerated Bachelor of Science in Nursing. And I'm so excited to share my experience with you. So hopefully I can encourage you to do this a nursing career. It will be fun.
Thank you, Justine. So she's going to be adding a lot to our webinar today. We are so excited to have Justine. She's our very first student at Oklahoma City University. And as she said, she's only got a couple more months and she's graduating already from the accelerated BSN program there. So, and while we're waiting for a few more people, I would love to know who you are. So if you would go to the chat and tell us your name and where you're from, that would be great. We'd love to know who's here. So who's brave enough to start and give us your name and where you're from? Would love to hear from you. Please just put your name and where you're from in the chat here. And we're going to get started here to help you understand how you can launch a new degree and career in nursing here in the United States. Deva, if you'll move the slide to the next couple slides here. Again, please tell us where you're from and what your name is. We want to hear from everybody here who's on the webinar in the chat. So we're here to help you pursue a dream job in healthcare here in the United States. And it starts with our Nursing Launchpad program. And you will be completing a 1-year accelerated BSN program, just like Justine's about to complete. After you complete the accelerated BSN program, we help you with job placement. We have hospitals waiting for nurses, international nurses, to come and work for them. So we help you with job placement. And you may be familiar with agencies that help place nurses. inSpring is not an agency. We actually are working directly with the hospitals. And when you get employed, you're going to be a hospital employee. So how it works is that when you get employed, then inSpring gets money from the hospital. We get a commission. So we're not an agency. An agency would be where you would be signing up with them. You'd be working for them for many years. If you break your contract, you owe them money back. And also, you have to pay them a part of your paycheck. So we're not like that. inSpring is here to support you. And when you're successful in getting a job, we're successful. Any other comments on that, Eric, that you have as far as us not being an agency?
Yeah, I think I think all of you, you're very knowledgeable on different healthcare paths in the United States. You know about Green Card EB3, you know about H-1B. There's a lot of different options, but I think it's important to know that you're not going through us, you're not working for us, we're not charging you any money. We have Justine on the call. She can tell you if this is all true, what's coming out of my mouth. You'll see we offer all of our services are included, and the idea is that it's a win-win-win. When you win, the hospital wins, and we win. Our agreements are with the hospital. So we're really excited for you to learn about how to start your nursing journey with us. But this is a direct placement into a university and then a direct placement into a hospital. No hocus pocus, no fun and games, no catch. Okay? So don't be nervous. All right, Joan, back to you.
Yeah, so Eric, I'm going to also ask you to speak on this slide as well. These are just a few of our team members. You see Eric and myself here, but we have many, many people behind the scenes besides these faces here. But Eric, if you could just share a bit about inSpring and how we got started and what our purpose is and what we really want to do to help people. You mentioned that we're there for each of the people that are on our webinar here and others. So could you share a bit about the history?
Sure. Well, it's been a wild 3 years, since we first started talking about setting up the organization, and a few of us came together because we all have a history, experience in working with international students, like amazing Justine here on the call. For about 18 years. I traveled to different countries, and I've been very fortunate to be in a lot of the countries where you are from, working with international students applying to degrees in the United States. And we thought, well, there's all this international talent in the United States. What are they going to do after their degree? You know, Many of you can come study in the US like Justine is, and obviously the university has its own career services, et cetera. You have lots of resources, but even for me as an American, I'm from New Jersey originally, and I went to college in Boston. And I remember even being four hours away from my home, and I'm American. It was very confusing for me. Well, now what? How do I get a job? What do I do? So we thought there's a great opportunity for us to partner with employers, partner with universities and regions in the United States to guide them on their talent mobility strategies. How do you hire the best international talent in the United States, and what happens for international students when they graduate with a degree? And so we're really excited that at inSpring, we actually cater to international green card and US citizenship talent. And we work with all sorts of employers all over the United States in different sectors. But in particular in healthcare, it's very internationally dominated. It's a beautiful thing. Healthcare is a wonderful avenue for international talent. So we're really excited that you get to learn about what we do here. And just remember, it's all about direct placement into your education and direct placement into your employment. How's that,
Right.
Joan?
That's great. Yes. So we're here for you. And as I said, it's a two-step process. You're going to complete a 1-year ABSN, and then we'll help you with the job. Dave, if you could go to the next slide. So why are we focused at inSpring on international candidates? Well, there is a huge need for healthcare workers in the United States. If you look at the chart on the left, you see some numbers. You see RN 195K 86,000. And then you see NP 26K 121K. What does all of that mean? Well, that means that in the United States, there is a shortage, a need for 195,000 nurses right now. We don't have enough nurses here in the United States, and the median salary for nurses is $86,000 a year. Now, after you become a RN and you have your BSN, you could go back for further education and you can become a nurse practitioner. Those jobs, there's 26,000 open jobs right now, and their median salary is 121,000. Wow. So there's a lot of opportunity for jobs. And if you look at the right-hand side, it says domestic demographic cliff. What do we mean by that? Well, you see the states that are in red and pink and light blue, and most of our states, most of our country does not have as many young people attending university. So there's a decline, and that's what this chart shows you from 2021 to 2029. Very few states have an increase in US or in enrollees in general at their university. So think about that and think about then how many people are studying nursing. We just don't have enough US talent. So that's where this is a tremendous opportunity for someone like you to come in to step into a nursing role because there's just so much opportunity. And next slide, please, David. So I mentioned 86,000. I just wanted to focus in on this a little bit more. So the median salary here in the United States is $86,000 a year. That's $41 an hour. And when you think about that, that's just your base salary, or that's the base salary of nurses here in the US. Because there's such a shortage, hospitals are always looking for nurses to work more hours, more shifts. So you could be making another 10,000 or more a year in overtime payments. This is just your base salary. It's a very, very good salary. There's 3.3 million nursing jobs, but almost 195,000 openings right now. And the job growth is projected to be 6% a year. What we're finding is that our baby boomer generation is retiring. We've got nurses who have years of experience who are in their 50s, 60s, and they're saying, I'm going to retire now. There's not enough young people, though, to fill those jobs. So that's where you step in and you can become a nurse in a relatively short period of time, and you can get a very nice paying job. Next slide, David. So why become a nurse? Well, nursing is the #1 most trusted profession in the United States. It's really an important role. In fact, when I talk to people from other countries who are nurses already and are kind of thinking about our program, I've asked them, what's the best thing about being a nurse? And for the most part, the #1 answer I get is they tell me they love seeing their patients go home. So they love that day that their patient is ready to leave the hospital. They know they've done their job, and they just feel that it's such a rewarding experience for them because they've seen that patient come in, maybe needing surgery or being very sick, and now they're able to go home and live on their own. It just makes them feel so great. And I know that you here on the call will probably have had a calling to become a nurse, or you wouldn't be here. I've talked to so many people who tell me that they could never have become a nurse in their country. It's very hard to get into nursing school, but they've always felt that calling. Or maybe people have had a personal experience working in a healthcare setting with a loved one, and they have decided that they want to become a nurse. So that's the first thing, is that you really have a calling to be a nurse. The second thing is that you can make a lot of money with the median salary being $86,000 a year. We also showed you that there's so many job openings and job security as well. Unemployment is less than 2% a year at being a nurse. This is a very fast pathway for you to be educated and be employed in 12 months. You can make this happen. You probably couldn't do this in your country. I don't think there's ABSN programs in your country. And you can earn work authorization and qualify for a green card, and we'll talk more about that here as well. So these are all reasons why you might choose to become a nurse. I'm going to ask Justine to chime in here and tell me about what you had done before with your bachelor's degree, and then why you decided that you wanted to become a nurse.
So my first degree was Bachelor of Science in Medical Technology in the Philippines, and so I worked in the laboratory. And then my second job is in cath lab. So I fell in love with direct patient care. So I thought that why shouldn't I do the nursing career? And then I saw inSpring offer me the Bachelor of Science of Nursing in just 1 year. So luckily I started it. And then that is true also if you will ask most of my classmates why they chose nursing, it's financial security. It's the job because you everybody will say that nursing is always in demand. So that's it.
Good. Awesome. And Justine, you were telling me earlier that you're getting some hands-on experience in hospitals in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
So I think you said you've been in about 5 hospitals already. Tell us about what's that experience been, because you're really learning what it's like to be a nurse and you're in all these different units. Share a little bit about that.
Okay, yes, it's so fun. So every subject we have rotation in clinical. Every hospital we've been in medical surge, the step down unit. The step down unit is after their surgery, and then I've been through labor and delivery for women's, and then for child health, I've been in pediatric unit, and then currently I'm doing medical med surge again for my adult health 2 subject. So it's fun. They allow you to give medicines, vital signs. You are doing your job as a nurse. And then that's also true that when you send home the patient and then see them smile, it's a very rewarding. So that is the reward after being a nurse, I guess.
Great, great. So I wanted to share this slide with you. I mentioned the 86,000. That's a median salary across the United States. You won't necessarily be starting at that wage. Our nurses that we're employing right now are making around $70,000 a year. But keep in mind that you can work extra hours and you can make quite a bit more money. And the next slide is my favorite slide, I think, because this shows you the potential of what you can earn in 3 cities and states that we have programs in. So once you've had experience being a nurse, salaries go way up. Dava, if you could show the next slide. It's unbelievable how much money you can make being a nurse in these cities and states. So why we point out these 3 cities and states is this is where we have partnerships with universities. So look at how much money you can be making, well over $86,000 a year as a nurse, as a base salary. And this is, of course, after you have some years of experience, but most of you are young here. You're going to be working another 20, 25, 30 years. So think about this being your base salary. You can easily be making over $100,000 a year. If you are in another program here in the US, you're probably not seeing these kind of wages for the field that you're studying in. So this is why there's just so much potential and why we're excited about our program, because it's going to have a big payoff in the end. Next slide, Dava. So this is the steps that you'll work with us, and this is what Justine did. She started with us from the very beginning, applying to our program. We do have Dava, and she will be getting in touch with you initially on WhatsApp just to check in with you and see if you're a good fit for our program. And then we help you get prepared for the program once you've been accepted. We help you with a transition coming to the US, or if you're here transitioning from wherever you're at in the United States to another city and state that you will be learning about in that university. We help make sure you complete your degree. You do need to get licensed. There's the NCLEX you'll be taking, and then we help you at the very end getting placed in employment. So these are our steps that we'll be working through with you. And we're here every step of the way in this process. David, the next slide, please. This shows you a little bit more about the process. So you're going to come here as an F1 student. Many of you here already are F1 students. You will do the 1-year program, and then you're going to take the NCLEX. Some of you may not be familiar with the NCLEX, but that is the licensing exam for becoming a nurse. You must pass that exam. Once you pass the exam, then you're going to be using OPT. And after you use your OPT, then you're going to be sponsored on an H-1B work visa. And then from there, you can apply for a green card. Eric, I'm going to have you talk a little bit about the H-1B, how this program works with the H-1B, because there's been a lot of talk in the news with the executive order recently, with H-1Bs, with companies having to pay $100,000 for an employee. Can you share a bit about what's happening and how that affects this program?
Sure. All right. So I think there, by the way, Dave, I can see someone before. Thanks for letting us know. Can you please reposition the video? It's on the slide. I don't know if that's still the case, but let us know before if you still see that, if someone else is seeing some kind of issue with the video. I'll just talk about H-1B in general because it's a hot topic. There's a lot of news and it's confusing for everyone. Don't worry, it's confusing for all Americans too. So if you are totally confused and you're an international student, you're in good company because everyone's confused. Even the people making the rules are totally confused. But we have a full-time immigration team here at inSpring. They're all experts, they're all amazing, and we work with fantastic immigration lawyers and everyone, they're cutting edge. They have the latest information. So, excuse me. Here's the general thing to keep in mind. So, we have an H-1B executive order, and I think it's important for you all to understand that an executive order is not a law. It's very important for you to understand that. I know in your countries, potentially the president or the prime minister just says something, then it becomes a law. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's a law. I'm not saying that's always the case, but I know I've been to lots of your countries where it's like, well, the president says something and all of a sudden it's a law. In the US, just so you know, when the president does an executive order, it can be challenged and actually struck down by the courts. It doesn't go into law. It only goes into effect for the term of the presidency unless it's struck down earlier. Okay, that's the first thing to remember. The second thing is that in this executive order, there are waivers. They allude to waivers, national interest waivers. We don't know what those waivers are. No one does. If anyone tells you what the waivers are, they're lying. No one knows what the waivers are. But we have to assume, which is why you're on this webinar, we have to assume in general that anyone outside the United States right now that needs an H-1B right now will not be able to get it. That's what you have to assume. That's what we have to assume. There's a $100,000 fee for anyone who needs a new H-1B who is outside the US right now. No one will pay $100,000 unless you want to give me $100,000. No one's going to pay $100,000. So it's essentially an embargo. Now, while you might feel animus towards President Trump when you hear that, and while you might be angry about it, if you actually think about what the executive order does, it actually makes getting an education in the United States the best possible way to get the best possible job in the United States now, which is what I've always said in my career talking to students is that get an education in the United States, you have the best possible chance at a job in the US, which makes sense, right? So now it's actually really the truth in that Justine was brilliant. Justine is already brilliant. We knew Justine was a rocket scientist. But if you look at what Justine did, it's actually completely insulated from any of this fee, H-1B fee, because the rule is if you're in the US and it's a change of status from F1 visa or any visa to an H-1B, but in this case, we're talking about F1 international student visas. Excuse me, F1 student visa for international students. It's a change of status and it's exempted from the $100,000 fee. So H-1B is accessible to the great Justine and to all of you if you first come to the United States under any visa, actually. As long as you can stay in the United States and it's not through consular processing is what the label is when it's outside the United States. So in fact, getting an education in the United States has actually never been more important if you want to get a great job in the United States. And the government, according to this executive order, has exempted anyone within the United States. So tomorrow we may hear that there are national interest waivers for people outside the US. We may hear that there's litigation against this executive order, but none of us can wait for tomorrow. None of us can plan for tomorrow. We plan for today. So if that makes sense, Joan. I mean, we
Yeah,
could get into this in more detail, but if you come get an education in the US, you're good. You're exempted.
good. Dava, if you could skip to the next slide after that, I want to just point out a couple of things. That the H-1Bs that we work with and the hospitals we work with are exempt from the lottery. So when you heard about this executive order that Eric is talking about from President Trump, at least our news talks about the big tech companies and the lottery employees. We have a different pool, I guess, that we're looking at, and that is these uncapped, the uncapped pool of candidates. And our hospitals that we work with can hire as many international nurses as they want. They're not in a lottery, the nurses and the hospitals that we work with. So that means that they are institutions of higher education and they're nonprofit institutions. So in our work outside of this program, we have brought in over 100 international nurses on H-1Bs up until this point. Our hospitals love our H-1B nurses, our international nurses. Our nurses are happy to be working at our hospitals. So we've already got hospitals in place that we've got jobs for international candidates. On the right-hand side here, you see that there's a cost for an H-1B. It's almost $5,000. And guess what? The hospital's paying that, not you. So every time they hire one of our international nurses and file for an H-1B, the hospital's paying almost $5,000. So they want international nurses. They're making that commitment up front before you ever start working at that hospital. So this is really exciting for you to know that you're going to be working at a hospital that wants international candidates. Eric, do you have any other comments on that?
Yeah, I think that's very well said, Joan. The only thing I would add is, in the previous world we were all living in before this proclamation, we had many people applying directly from outside the United States to get an H-1B for those uncapped positions Joan is talking about. Now, you should listen to every word Justine says, because whatever Justine did, Justine, we're going to have many mimics. They're going to try to copy you, which is great. Justine is a leader. Justine was smart in her path. You really do want to do exactly what Justine did. Honestly, I mean, honestly, Justine, what do you eat for breakfast? Okay, let's get everyone doing exactly what you do. But what it means is that honestly, now the path is further constricted as long as we know right now in perpetuity, we have to assume the $100,000 fee applies to anyone outside the United States, which means that you want to first come on a student visa. You want to come here first and then transfer your visa to an H-1B that will still be uncapped, to Joan's point. So the mechanics of the visa don't change. It's still a no lottery position. If we had 100 Justines, which we hope to copy you, Justine. No one can copy you, Justine. But if we can replicate your spirit, Justine, and we have, 100 students like Justine graduating from US BSN programs, that's the model because it's still uncapped. There's no lottery for these positions because they're skilled labor in the healthcare field. It's considered critical labor, and then you avoid the fee. Um, Deva answered a question, and just Deva, that went to just hosts and panelists, so people know. But Tope asked a question, so it didn't go back to everyone. Just so you know. So Tope asked a question: Can you get the green card without doing an H-1B? I wish maybe if this was the 1980s and 90s, you could do that. The green card used to be fast. It's no longer fast. The green card in the world, for anyone in the world, it's based on country of birth, is at least a 3-year wait. At least. In some cases, it's a 10-year wait or 15-year wait based on your country of birth. So, for example, certain countries, even if you're in the United States, right? Even if you're here, you're like, what do you mean? Come on, President Trump. I'm waiting for my green card. I'm right here. It's based on country of birth, your wait time for the green card. It's not based on residency. But the F1 student visa is fast in most cases. All right. And if you're already here, you don't have to do anything. You're already on a visa. And the H-1B visa is super fast if you're in the country. It can be in as short as 4 weeks, 2 weeks even. We've seen H-1Bs adjudicated as quickly as that. So sorry, Tope, you can't avoid the green card, but you essentially don't have to think about the green card if you have a job on an H-1B. You can renew your H-1B as long as you stay in the US indefinitely. So it's complicated. Keep the questions coming. They're good.
Yep. Okay, David, keep going here. Let's go past this slide here and get right into Oklahoma. Let's go past this slide as well. So we're featuring a one-year accelerated BSN, and this is an example of Oklahoma City University, which is where Justine is attending right now. So each school has their own example of a nursing program for accelerated BSN, but this is a 3-semester program. Justine started in spring of this year. You can start in spring of next year. And you would go from spring, summer, and fall, and you'd be done by December of 26. Justine's going to be done by December of 25. Justine, I'm going to ask you to just share a bit about your experience. One of the things we like to tell people is they're really not going to have time to work. So can you share what your weeks are like, what it's been like in this program? You've already had 2 semesters under your belt. You're working on your final semester. Share a bit about what the coursework's like, please.
Okay. So I started on spring 25. Every single week we have exam. And then the first 8 weeks is pharmacology and health assessment, which is a very big subject and it's a lot of things to learn about. And then after the second 8 weeks, we already have clinical duty. So you are in the school for 3 days and then you are in clinical duty for 2 days. So that's 5 times a week. And then your weekend, you need to review for the exam next week and then another exam for the next week. So we have exam every single week. So we don't have a chance or opportunity to work because this is a 1 year program. I delegate my time to just study and then leave the work for next year because it is a great opportunity for this. And so yeah, I don't have the time to work.
Okay.
You
All
hear
right,
that,
Dave, I feel
everyone? She doesn't have time to work. We're not making it up. Everyone asks us, Justine, can I
Mhm.
work, as a barista? Can I work at Foot Locker? Can I work at Burger King and make some petty cash money? Like, plan to not have any time.
No,
Okay?
yeah.
You heard it live from Justine.
So Oklahoma City is the university that we're featuring, but we have a couple other universities to talk about. But Justine, this is where you decided to attend the accelerated BSN program. And Oklahoma is ranked by US News and World Report. Their College of Health Professions and their nursing program is accredited by ACEN. That's important. You want to be in an accredited nursing program. Their School of Nursing's in the top 15% of nursing schools. They have 7 fully simulated hospital rooms, and the nurses experience an above average NCLEX passing rate. That is so important. If you're not able to pass the NCLEX, you're not able to work. So you need your BSN and your NCLEX, and Oklahoma has a very good track record. One of the other real benefits of Oklahoma is the cost. So they do require a 3.0 GPA in your bachelor's degree, but the cost is very affordable, as I'll show you the cost of our other 2 universities and you'll have a comparison. They give scholarships of anywhere between $9,750 up to $17,250. So every one of the students that goes through this program that has a 3.0 GPA is getting a very nice scholarship. So if you look at the bottom here, depending on your GPA, your tuition and fees is around 31,000, or it could be as low as under 23,000 or under 24,000. So that's a very, very good cost for a 1-year nursing program. And of course, that's split up into 3 semesters. So you pay by semester. The next slide shows you total costs. So there are some additional fees and like healthcare costs and books and all of that. So we say that you need about $48,000, and then living expenses, we suggest 20 to 25,000. Now that's going to be really up to you how much you spend in housing. If you have a lot of roommates, if you eat in your place, not go out very much, then you won't spend as much. You have a good idea if you're here in the US what you're spending per year, but this gives you a general idea of what you'll be spending for this program. The good news too is that Empower loans are available, and we'll talk about Empower here in just a few slides. Now, probably most of you do not have a healthcare background. You may be in another field. Maybe you're in a master's degree here.
Hey,
So
Joan.
you do need,
So
yes.
sorry to interrupt your flow, Joan. So sorry. You're on a roll. Do you mind going back one slide, Deva? I wanted Justine, if you're comfortable, Justine, just telling us we have Justine live in the flesh. Um, you had, if I remember, Justine, one of the best, it was like such a great scholarship opportunity, I believe. And so if you don't mind voicing over, do you remember, Justine, exactly what was like the final amount that your tuition was after the scholarship? Is that something you're comfortable with telling everyone?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I have two scholarship from the international school, so it's $4,500. So it will be like minus my living expenses because I live on campus. So the total tuition fee is just like around 13 to 14 thousand dollars. So my apartment or my living on campus fee is 4,000, so that would be $8,000 including my apartment. So if you don't want to live on campus, it will be around 13 to 14 thousand dollars.
So would you say, Justine, the total out of pocket after scholarship, and if I remember, we'll get to it, you did also an Empower financing loan as well, correct?
Yes,
So
that's right.
Justine, do you mind just, and we'll talk about Empower financing, everyone, so you hear that loan financing, but just like after the loan, Justine, after the scholarship, what was the
Mhm.
total out of pocket, if you remember, that you've paid for your education, like after loan, after scholarship, the total amount that you had to actually have leave your bank account, if that makes sense.
Okay. I cannot remember. I'm sorry. I think it's like
You see, Justine can't even remember. It was so low. I remember, Justine, you had such a competitive,
well, to
right?
tell you honestly, well, this is very like I'm comfortable to share this.
Yeah.
All of my living expenses, tuition fee came from Empower. Even the books. Even the books.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great. And you know, and the reason, trust me, everyone, the reason Justine sounds like she didn't expect me to ask this question live is because I didn't prepare her. And
Yeah.
I thought, and I appreciate you're a great sport, Justine. We don't need
Mhm.
to dig into your personal finances. It's really just so everyone hears. Did you hear that? The loan covered a considerable percentage in general, just to remember. And Justine got a really good scholarship. It was almost $15,000. I remember because I saw her I-20. Sorry, Justine. I've seen everything that you've done. But so you can hear live. The education is quite affordable if you think
Yeah.
about the loan coverage and the scholarship coverage. So thanks, Justine. You're a great sport. Joan, sorry to interrupt your flow.
No, it's
Let's
fine.
focus
Yeah,
on.
and when you think about that, it is a return on investment, because keep in mind our nurses are starting at around $70,000 a year. So the program's paying for itself in less than 1 year. So I did want to talk about prereqs. Each school has their own prereqs, and this is a list of the prereqs you'll need to complete before you can start the program. So if you are applying now, let's say for spring, which you still have time to do, realistically, you probably won't be done with all of these prereqs in time for spring. But Oklahoma is very flexible, and you have time to get these done, and you can start in fall of 2026. Some of you may already have taken these prereqs. And if that's the case, you might be able to start in spring. But I did want to let you know that we have all these courses available for you to take online, and they're available through a school called Portage University. There is a cost. The cost is listed on the right-hand side. we will help you get registered for these courses. So when we talk, I'll go over what you've already taken or what you need to take. And if you are here in the US, we just ask that if you want to take online courses, you do ask your DSO if they're okay with you taking online courses along with your current coursework. So that's Oklahoma. Justine, I'm going to kind of stop here and just ask you for what your experience has been. Dave, if we can go back to the Oklahoma slide. Justine, I really want to take advantage of having you here today. What's it been like to be a student? What was it like when you came here from the Philippines? You came in winter in Oklahoma. New culture, making new friends, finding a place to live. Kind of just share with us what your experience has been.
Okay. So I came from the Philippines, directly straight directly here in Oklahoma, and it was winter. It's so cold. I'm not used to cold seasons because we have hot seasons only in the Philippines. So that's the first thing that I need to adjust on. Second is the culture for sure, because the Philippines and US is different, completely different culture. So I need to adjust on that. And then I don't have family here in Oklahoma. Just so you know, I live alone. And then I need to make friends to fit in, so it will not be a boring life. And then I had fun with Oklahoma City University. They are easy to talk to, especially if you just do it online. They will respond to your email immediately, as well as the professors. Professors are very, very great. You can learn a lot of things with them. They are cooperative. If you are having a hard time on this subject, they will talk to you. We will walk through this program is doable. It's just 1 year. It's a very fast, but for sure it is doable.
Okay. And what about the other students? Do you have other international students in your classes? Have you made friends, American and international students? What are the students like in the program?
Yes, I have international classmates, but they've been here in US for a while.
Okay.
So I'm the one that's them straight direct from other country. So yeah, they are used to it. And some of my classmates are not healthcare doesn't have healthcare background. Some of them are like business engineer, but they're doing great. They love the nursing career, since you told us that this is a calling, so they called to be a nurse, even if this is their first time doing the nursing career on healthcare profession. They're doing great. um they're like, yeah, we love this, we love nursing.
That's great. Well, I bet you have been encouraging them because you worked in healthcare already in the
Mhm.
Philippines. So you
Mhm.
had that experience. But, typically these programs have mainly people that do not have a healthcare background, right? Most of your classmates come from other
Mhm.
backgrounds, not a healthcare background. So
Yes.
it's very different, but they're doing well, you think?
Yes,
They're
yes, they're
doing
doing
well?
very, very well. They're
That's
doing good.
excellent. Wonderful.
And
Well, okay.
Justine, sorry, we have a question from the chat. Terry Ann asked, what's a better option or more affordable, living off campus in Oklahoma City or living on campus? I don't know if you evaluated the options carefully, Justine. Like, what would you recommend an international student in terms of living expenses, kind of affordability?
Okay. So for me, I think living on campus is more affordable because I don't need the car, the gas for the car, the gasoline for the car, and the insurance for the car. So it will be lesser for me to just walk from this apartment through the building. It's a more affordable. Yeah.
That is, just so you all know, living on campus. So you all know, typically would not be the more affordable option. But because Oklahoma City University is such a great price and the value is so good, the fact that on-campus living is essentially, the affordability is great. That's really amazing to hear, everyone, from an actual student doing it right now. Typically, on-campus housing at any university in the United States will be more expensive just because it's kind of easier and more convenient. But that's reassuring to hear, Justine, the kind of value that you get for even living on campus. That's great because it's easier to find on-campus housing, obviously, right? Was it a simple process getting on-campus housing, Justine?
Yes, it is. You just need to apply it online, but as early as possible because this on campus is usually they have a lot of students
Great.
living here.
That's really awesome. I didn't pay Justine to say that, everyone. She just naturally. That's awesome to hear. And that
Mhm.
it's simple too is almost half the battle. A lot of the time it can be complicated to figure out housing lottery and all this kind of stuff. That's awesome.
Mhm.
I'm not surprised to hear that about Oklahoma City University. Great option, very affordable. Thanks, Justine.
So we're going to talk real quickly here about our other two programs, but we really wanted to take advantage of Justine being here today to talk about Oklahoma. I just want to remind you that Oklahoma, you do still have time now to apply for spring. So we want to get started if you're interested. They are starting to review applications now for spring. And so we want to have you apply. Even if you can't start, you need all these prereqs. Let's get an application in now. The next school that we'll talk about is Cleveland State. This is our newest partner, and we're excited about Cleveland State. However, you can't start here until January of 27. They only have one intake, and they already have closed their intake for spring of 26. The beauty of this program is that our nurses will work at Cleveland Clinic. If you go to the next slide, Dava, Cleveland Clinic is number 2 in the world, not in the United States, but the number 2 hospital in the world. So you would have an opportunity to work here after you complete that program. Cleveland program is 16 months. It's not 12 months like Oklahoma. And the next slide, Dava. So again, it's open for spring of 27. Here's the cost for their program. So it's a bit higher than Oklahoma, but it is over 4 semesters that you're paying. And then here's a list of their prereqs. So they have 8 prereqs. So we'll go over this if you're interested when we talk. And our final school is University of Rochester Medical Center. This is in New York. I know some of you are probably in the Northeast already, so this may be the closest school that you could go to. They are ranked in the top schools of the United States. So they are in the top 1% of universities here in the US. They are accredited by CCNE, and you would be working at one of the top hospitals, Strong Hospital. This is where many of our international nurses are working right now. However, the cost is very high to go to school here. So you'll see the next slide. They are accepting applications for summer. And Dave, if you'll go to the next slide, you can see the cost is quite a bit more than Oklahoma. So many of our applicants are deciding to apply to Oklahoma for sure, and then possibly also Rochester to start next year. And then here's a list of their prereqs as well. So they have 7 prereqs. So all schools have prereqs, and we'll talk about that and how you can get enrolled in those. The next slide, we talk about Empower loans. So Empower loans are available right now for Oklahoma City and for Rochester. And Justine, you mentioned that you took out an Empower loan. So could you tell us a bit about that experience, what that was like, and were they pretty easy to work with? How did that work for you?
For Empower, it's easy to apply. Very easy to apply. You just apply it online, and then you tell them how much money you need, and then work with the financial officer here in Oklahoma City University. And after that, you're good. Just that, like online, talk to the financial officer. You just need to sign some waivers here in Oklahoma City, and then the Empower will disburse the money to the school. You don't need to do anything.
So we'll
No.
go over what you need to do to apply for an Empower loan when we talk, what the process would be. But as Justine said, they're very easy to work with, and we have a really good working relationship with them too. So if
Yeah.
there are any questions, issues, we can get involved as well. But you
And the
found
good thing
a lot,
is,
you got
I'm sorry.
answers from them, Justine?
The good thing is they don't have you don't need co-signer to apply for Empower. That's the most important thing for international students.
Yeah. And the next slide gives you an example of what the payments would look like. So a loan is a loan, of course. So if you're borrowing $20,000 while you're in school, you do have to start paying interest, $258 per month. After you graduate, then you're paying $335 per month for principal and interest, but they give you 10 years to pay your loan off. The next slide, Davis, shows if you borrow $40,000, then you're paying $516 per month and $671 over 10 years. I know some of you may be using Empower Loans already. If you want to switch programs, you would want to contact them and ask them about what your options might be. So our next slide shows you what we do in our nursing launchpad program. So the first step, of course, is for you to apply. So we help you get admitted into 1, 2, or 3 of the programs you're interested in. We do ask you to pay a $300 refundable deposit, and we use that money then to get your transcripts evaluated. Some of you may already have your transcripts evaluated, but we still charge you the $300. And you will not have to pay any application fees. If you applied to any of these universities on your own, you'd be paying at least $50, $60, $70. That's all waived if you work with inSpring. And then we'll work together to get your application in, and I'll go through what you need to do for each school. And then IELTS is only needed for a few countries, probably not for most of you. Prereqs, we'll work on a plan together. And the most important thing is after you pass the NCLEX, we're going to help you with employment in a US hospital. Now, the next slide is, why would you want to work with inSpring? Why not do all of this on your own? Many of you are here on F1s already. Why not just figure this out on your own? Well, the first thing is that we offer personalized service and we assist you throughout this whole entire process. You've done a great job if you're here already, understanding how education works, but we're here to help you throughout this process and for you to get a job in the long run. Justine, do you have any comments about working with inSpring, what it was like working with us, and what you might recommend that, they would work with us versus just figuring it out on their own?
Okay. So working with inSpring, it's a very, very great opportunity. You saw the step 1 to 6. They will walk you through step 1 up until step 6. I am on my step 5, coming step 5, my NCLEX. They are working with me on my NCLEX and then my employment. So they're very good on it. John and Eric will always email me, and then how am I going? How is it? So yeah, they're doing that. Also, they only have $300. It's a $300 fee for the inSpring, so it will not be going on them. It will be on your transcript, other fees. So it is a very, very win-win situation. You will not pay anything. You will be on a good school. You will be in a good employment after the school. And what else? I am just a very, very grateful for inSpring that they walk me all throughout the first step, even the visa processing, because I came from the Philippines. We already have mock interview before the US embassy interview. So yeah, they are very, very great. You are very, very helpful for me.
Oh, thank you. And we're so happy that you said yes and you wanted to do the program because you're a
Mhm.
trailblazer for inSpring as well. Just a few other reasons to work with us. We have those prereq courses for you online. They're very simple to register for, and they're on your schedule. So you can set your own pace to get those prereqs done. If you are outside of the United States, as Justine said, we do help you with preparing for your visa interview. If you're here already, we'll help you switch your I-20 to one of our schools. We help you with transitioning here to the US or to your university that you're going to be attending. And of course, once you complete the program, we help you with employment. So this is the final slide here, and this is just the steps that we'll be going through together if you decide and say yes, just like Justine did. First, we'll have you pay the $300 refundable deposit, and then we'll work together to get your application in. Remember, you can still apply now for Oklahoma City for spring. We want you to get in touch with us right away, and we want you to apply there. Even if you still need all those prereqs, you can start in fall. Once you receive a decision, you can apply for an Empower loan. Justine mentioned how simple that was to apply for an Empower loan, that they're very good to work with. We'll work with you to complete your prereqs, and of course, then help you get your F1 visa appointment if you need it, if you're outside of the US, or transfer your visa. We'll help you get enrolled and follow you through the program, and then we'll help you with employment. So those are the steps in our program. So Eric, I'm going to turn it over to you. Questions that we have in the chat from people that maybe were common questions you might have answered, but if you could maybe mention what's on people's minds here.
Yeah, so first of all, Justine, I couldn't have paid you to say more beautiful words about us. So we really appreciate that. And Justine, you should really thank us when you get a job. You should hold your thanks until you get that job, and then you can say, "Now I really thank you." No, I'm kidding. No, that's really beautiful, and we really appreciate that, and that's why we set up the organization. Honestly, Justine is wonderful candidates like you is honestly we could be doing anything. We could be doing any sort of profession, but your words are exactly why we do what we do. I'm not trying to be cheesy or sappy. It's exactly why we set up this organization, and we're so happy that you feel that way. That's the goal. So we have some time. I'm willing to go a little bit over too, just because these are sort of unprecedented, wild times with all the rulings, and I'm sure you're anxious and you have questions about visa. Justine, if you have to run, no worries. You're busy. But we have a few questions, and I just wanted to say, yeah, first of all, sorry about that, Hayun. I saw you said no worries. I promoted Hayun as a panelist to talk by accident. I didn't mean to remove you. But if you'd like to ask questions, please feel free. So, all right, we've got a few questions. Jay, you asked great questions. In general, okay, here we go. If you're on this call and you're in the United States, number one, no $100,000 fee, as long as you stay in the United States, okay? Okay? First thing, I'll say it again. If you're on this call and you're in the United States, no matter what your visa is, if you can stay in the United States throughout the process while you wait to switch to an H-1B, and some of you will have work authorization, which we will talk about. I see you referencing it. It's called CPT or OPT. But after your CPT or OPT will be the time to transfer to an H-1B. You will not be subjected to the $100,000 fee. That's the first thing, okay? On top of that, the government's shut down. Yay, America, so functional right now. Great. But try not to worry about that. Government shutdowns don't apply to student visa holders, CPT, OPT, you're fine. Government shutdowns only apply to the H-1B itself right now. Okay, so even if you're in the US and I said you're fine, don't worry about the H-1B, you can't get an H-1B in the US because of the government shutdown. Does that make sense? It's there's a labor office that's not working right now. Don't sweat it. The longest shutdown in government history, I think, was 35 days. It'll turn back on. The government will come back on. So try not to stress about that. Jay has a good question. So, and we can be transparent. I won't speak for you, Justine, but I will just say we have three hiring hospitals, okay? We have two categories of hiring hospital. There's one hospital that hires nurses with no experience who are here in the United States on an F1 student visa. And we have two other hospitals that hire let's say nursing students who have nursing experience. Maybe you're on an MSN in the United States, like a Master of Science in Nursing, and you have nursing experience from back home. Like I talked to a candidate yesterday who's from Trinidad. She has 16 years experience from home, but she's doing an MSN, a Master of Science in Nursing in the United States right now. She would be eligible for all three hospitals. Any one of you that does not have actual hands-on nursing experience, we have a hospital in Birmingham, Alabama, okay, that hires nurses that are graduating from US ABSN/BSN programs for people that are on F1 student visas. And you, if you're hired, and I have great faith you will be, you'll start working on OPT, which is called optional practical training. So Jay, to give you an example, to tell everyone what Jay would do, excuse me, I'm going to put some links in the chat and we're going to follow up with links. Don't worry. We're not going to, you don't have to rely on what's in the chat. We're going to email everyone on this webinar and tell you exactly the links. But I have two links that we're going to give you today, two types of links. One of them is for people like Jay, the amazing Jay Patel, who we just met today, but we know you're amazing, Jay, is that if you're in the United States and you're graduating a nursing program, you're actually going to be applying for what we call our RN link. You're actually becoming an RN. If you're in the United States for whatever reason, for whatever educational program you're doing, and it's not a nursing degree, and you're not about to take your NCLEX exam, which is your nursing licensure, let's say you're in the United States at a community college. Let's say you're in the United States studying a marketing degree, whatever you're doing, but you're on an F1 student visa, you will apply for our BSN link, which means that you would do what Justine did. You would actually transfer your I-20 to a nursing degree in the United States. But Justine didn't do that. Justine came from the Philippines directly for a nursing program. But we have many students, Deva and Joan talk to every day, that are just like you in the United States. Maybe you're doing a degree in business or finance or whatever. Or maybe you're doing something like in health informatics or something. You can actually transfer your I-20. You're not transferring your visa to a nursing degree in the United States, then do the program Justine did, then go into the job like Jay would go into, or Justine, if that makes sense. So I'm going to give you two types of links. It might be a little confusing, but don't worry. We've got you covered. If you're outside the United States, it's important to remember the F1 student visa is not impacted. I will say again, if you're outside the United States right now, the F1 student visa is not impacted. The H-1B visa is impacted. However, we're not recruiting from all countries, not because we don't love you, but because the visa wait times are egregious, unfortunately, in some of your countries. And the universities have a certain like a limitation on who they can accept from different countries just because the wait times can be 9 months, 10 months from certain countries. So just keep that in mind. F1 student visas are fully operational worldwide. I mean, there's a government shutdown, but they still have State Department staff in the consulates. It's really important for you to tell your friends and family. F1 student visa, not impacted. H-1B visa is impacted outside the United States. If you're in the US, you're good. If you're on this call and you're in the US, you don't have to think about anything, okay? Well, you have to think about some things, but there's no fee, there's no, you can still transfer your degree. Let's see. I'm an international student here and I want to switch. Is there any intake for spring? There is an intake for spring, not in New York. Joan and Deva, if they're an international student, maybe. So I would say Nagaz, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Maybe, maybe, maybe. If you're here, you can transfer to Oklahoma City University for spring, but you need to do prerequisite courses first. So probably the case is that by the time you do your prereqs, you wouldn't be able to join in spring. But please apply. We're going to give you some links in a bit, and then we'll see. All right, how we can fit you in.
Yeah,
And
we want them to apply for spring, Eric.
yeah,
It's from
good,
Oklahoma right now, because if they need prereqs, they still get a decision. Otherwise, you're waiting for a long time to get a decision if you wait and wait and wait and apply for fall.
good. All right, so I'm going to answer one last question from Fahima. You're in the US, you hold a bachelor's degree in nursing, but you completed an MPH. I'm an OPT. Interesting, interesting, interesting. All right, Fahima, I want you to apply to our RN link, and then we can review your situation. You sound like you actually might be someone for a hospital, not for a university, if that makes sense. So I'm going to give you two links, but then we're going to recap in an email. Don't worry, okay? The first link I'm going to give you is the thing that Justine is doing now. Justine actually just got this link from our head of talent. It's all happening live, y'all. This is all happening. The first link I sent you is the RN program. That's if you want to apply for a job. That means that you're going to be licensed to be a nurse either soon or you already have an NCLEX. Okay? The second link I'm going to send you is to apply to the educational program we just talked about today, which is at Oklahoma City University, Cleveland State University, University of Rochester School of Nursing. These are two separate links. You see the difference in them? One says RN and one says BSN. And we're going to recap all of this. We're going to recap all of this on email. But Fahima, just apply. If I were you, please apply to the first one, okay? Apply to the RN link. And Sido Azaman. I'm sorry, I butchered your name. You're in New York with a G4. Interesting. Oh, you don't have a medical background. You have EAD. Interesting. Okay. I think that's an interesting one. Because you don't have a medical background, do you have a nursing background is what I would say. If you have a nursing background, then I would say apply to the RN link. If you just want to pursue education, then maybe you should do the BSN. Apply to the BSN, okay? Buyan, if you can. Apply to the BSN, educational. But if you're an ADN and an RN license in California, you still have to do BSN. And Justine, if you have to run, please feel free. I'm just going to stay on. Justine, do you have to go? Okay. If you're cool to just hang with us, I'm just going to answer these questions live. So just so you know, Yuzin, so everyone can hear this, international talent typically needs a BSN to get a job, an H-1B role. You need a US BSN equivalent or a US BSN itself. So what I would say, Yuzin, is if you already have the RN license, you unfortunately need to do an RN to BSN program in most cases because you have an ADN. But I would say apply to the let me think. Apply to the RN link and we can talk to you. Our team can talk to you, Yuzin. Hey, you completed your BSN, awesome, and you have already obtained a New York license. Great. I'm now trying to relocate to the US and start my nursing career. But what steps? Hey, are you in the US or not? Is what I would say. If you're outside the US, you can still apply to the RN link, but there's a waiting period where that $100,000 fee is going to apply until there's litigation or there's a waiver. If you're in the US, then you can transfer your work authorization essentially. You would have OPT or there's some way to avoid the fee. I would apply to the RN degree, okay, Heyon, if you're not in the US. And just keep in mind, if any of you are not in the US, you're great people. You're not bad people. It's great. We love you. It's just you're subjected to this $100,000 fee right now if you're applying for an H-1B. If you're applying for an F-1 visa, there's no $100,000 fee. But the last thing I'll say is you cannot do an educational program if you already have a nursing license in the US. That's the limitation. So any of you that want to come in on an F1 student visa, if you already have a US nursing license, you can't do another nursing degree, unfortunately. So like Justine had previous nursing experience, but she didn't have a nursing license. So she could do a nursing degree in the US. If you've passed the NCLEX, you cannot do a US BSN, unfortunately, on a student visa. Priscilla, do we only take CGFNS? We take others, but I would recommend CGFNS because it's kind of like the most commonly accepted currency in terms of credential evaluations. You'll never go wrong with its true merit now, as you know, but I would rely on CGFNS. Do all hospitals you mentioned take fresh students? No, only Birmingham, only one of our hospitals in Birmingham right now, accept candidates who don't have nursing experience. Does inSpring offer MSN? Not yet. We'd love to soon. You're on an F1 till 2027. Great. You just finished MBA and currently doing MSBAN. Interesting. Okay. Mikey, apply if you can, please. I know you're like master's degree super fancy. Your degrees are fancy, but you can actually go down to a bachelor's degree and it's not a demotion. In the US, you actually can do different educational programs in the US and get OPT for each level. So bachelor's, you get OPT, master's, you get OPT. If I were advising you, I would say, Mikey, apply to the BSN link and actually you can still get OPT after if you're willing to essentially leave your MSBAN, if that makes sense. Or just apply. I'd love to see your case. If you have, essentially think of it this way. If you have a US BSN degree or an master's of nursing degree, if you have OPT that you can use, you actually could start working right away. But if you don't have the full degree, you can't start working. Does that make sense? You either need to get your degree at a master's level or bachelor's level to get the OPT to start working. So I think, Mikey, you actually could apply for a US nursing degree. So apply to the BSN link. Great. All right. We got through it all. Whoa, didn't we? Well, I just like to say, Justine, we really appreciate your joining. We can't thank you enough. It means a lot to everyone, I'm sure, on this call, all these people that have joined to hear from a real student. I'm not making this up. You know, you hear about all this stuff on Instagram and on the internet and people doing this and that and whatever they're talking about. This is the real deal. Justine took a leap of faith. She applied for a student visa and then she arrived in the United States and she started her nursing degree. And she's now in her third semester and it's real. You know, we've been saying this now for 3 years, and Justine is the proof. It's real. This is all happening. And she's literally working with our talent director right now. I'm seeing the emails where she's going to be working on her resume and everything and applying for this role for this hospital in Birmingham, Alabama, that hires people like Justine. No one's like Justine, the incomparable Justine, but F1 student visa holders with no nursing experience, let's say, or not much, they're eligible for roles and they hire people based on their OPT. So it's happening. It's here. So believe in yourselves. Don't be a follower. Be a leader, is what I tell students and candidates. Don't wait for someone to tell you it's safe to do anything. Sometimes you just got to go. You got to take a leap of faith. You'll be rewarded. You got this. You have the passion, you have the desire, you have the courage. I believe in all of you. I'm not being a cheese ball, okay? We're walking the walk, we talk the walk. We talk the walk, we talk the talk. All of that. So try not to worry. The key is to be in the US first, though, to avoid the fees. The rest will take care of itself. If you're outside the US right now, try to pursue the F1 student visa path. That's not impacted by the H-1B fee. It's important to remember that. So I will stop talking, but I wanted to just thank you, Justine, and obviously Deva and Joan for bringing us all here today, but huge thanks to you, Justine. And
You're
I don't know if you
welcome.
wanted to say anything.
Oh, if you will work in inSpring, you will be at good hands. They didn't pay me, but you will be in good hands, that's for sure. I am at good hands. I'm almost there. So yeah, it's
Justine,
real.
why should they do this program?
Well, technically, because F1 nursing is a good financial security. Second, you can transfer their student visa to H1B real quick because you will have the nursing the international told me this. The international school told me this. You will have a job after graduation. Your OPT will not expire before they can give you H1B. So that's the good security for me.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate all of you staying a little bit later for our webinar. I would love to talk with all of you. I know we've got some people here that are future nurses to be a nurse here in the United States, and I would love to hear from you. So do fill out the application link if you are looking for a nursing program. If you already have your BSN and NCLEX, you have that link as well. And we'll be sending all these slides and the presentation. And again, a special thank you, Justine, for spending time with us today. We're so, so, so appreciative of you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody. Take
Thank
care.
you. Take
All right.
care.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
We'll email everyone. No sweat. Thanks so much, Justine. Thank
You're
you. Really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Thank
Salamat
you.
po. Salamat po, Justine.
Thank you po.
All right.
Salamat.
Thanks, Dave and Joan. Thanks so much,
Thank you.
everyone. We'll be in touch on email. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.